So tonight's theme is stuff your birds. Obviously, a little homage to next week's holiday for those that partake in the holiday. Maybe you stuff your turkey, whatever. Tonight is more about the birds stuffing themselves. So what birds eat will be the main focus of tonight's trivia. It's just still going slowly. Okay, round one, a cornucopia of feeding. So this is a variety of questions written by all three naturalists that are going to cover a number of topics. If the images are loading slowly, there is only, I believe, one question in the whole game, except for the lightning ID round, where the image actually will help answer the question. Everything else, the images are just nice little teasers on the side to enjoy while you answer. And with that, question number one, true or false? This is our first bonus question. True or false? Poisonous birds are rare, but some can make you sick when eaten. True or false? Poisonous birds are rare, but some can make you sick when eaten. So that is true. There are a handful of birds in the world, including our very own ruffed grouse, that due to their diet, certain times of the year, they are poisonous, meaning if you consume them, they will make you sick. There's some sort of bud, I believe, that the ruffed grouse during wintertime eat. So if you eat ruffed grouse in winter through early spring, in certain parts of North America, not in all parts, but in certain parts, it will make you sick. There are even instances of folks likely dying from poisoning due to eating certain birds. It's the same in the Mediterranean. There's a species that migrates there. When they migrate south, they're not poisonous. When they come back on their other migration, when they head north, they are poisonous. So some birds are poisonous to be eaten. After one, there's our scores. Let's keep moving. Second question, true or false? Waterfowl living at high elevations are related to upland game birds, to the family of upland game birds. Ten seconds. That is false. Waterfowl are in their own family, not related to what we classically call the upland game birds. The upland game birds are your pheasants, your grouse, your partridges, your quail, your turkeys. Those are the upland game birds. They're non-aquatic, whereas waterfowl and their family, ducks and geese, swans, they are aquatic. And so those are not related to each other. This is a high elevation duck known as a harlequin duck. At least in the Rockies, you find them at high elevations. After two. Question number three, multiple choice. Which of the following foods might orioles seek out when they arrive to the Rockies region in spring? Which of the following foods might orioles seek out when they arrive to the Rockies region in spring? Correct answer is all of these. So we often see orioles at orange slices that are put out, but as you can see in this image here, this oriole has a mouthful of bugs. They are frugivorous, nectivorous, and insectivorous, meaning they eat fruits, nectar, and bugs, all as part of their diet during the summertime and during the winter as well. So all of these was the correct answer. After three. All right, here's our next bonus question. Which of the following bird species is most likely to cache acorns in the siding on your house? Now this one, there's a hint in the image as it appears. Which one of these is going to cache acorns in the siding on your house? The most likely. Most folks got it. It is the Lewis's woodpecker. Now, Keith, you wrote this question. I don't know. Have you had, you can let us know in the chat if you'd like. Let us know if you've had experience with Lewis's woodpeckers caching acorns in your house. Keith lives in a lovely area where not acorn woodpeckers, Lewis's woodpeckers are quite common. So he gets to see them far more than we do, and lucky for him because they are as a gorgeous, gorgeous species of woodpecker. Okay, that was question number 4. There's our current standings after 4. Question number 5, true or false? True or false? Birds become dependent upon bird feeders. Birds become dependent upon bird feeders. I love that image. That is just a happy image, isn't it? An adult male eastern bluebird feeding a juvenile bluebird. So that is false. There's actually been several studies done upon this, and what has been learned, birds do not depend upon bird feeders. Instead, what bird feeders provide to birds is a supplementary diet piece that helps support them through hard times of the year. But if food simply dries up or disappears, just like it can in the wild when seed runs out, what birds do is move. If you've ever heard of the finch eruptions that happen, it is because there is a cyclical nature to a lot of the foods that birds are tied to. And when that cycle hits its low point, birds move. So same for snowy owl eruptions. There's cyclical nature in their diet or in their prey items. And so when those prey items are in the low part of their cycle, snowy owls scatter. Okay, so they don't become dependent upon them, but they do use them to supplement and survive, but they're not fully dependent upon them. So you don't need to worry if you stop feeding, it will not harm the birds. They will find more food elsewhere. Have wings, will travel. All right, question number 6, last question of this round. True or false? Hummingbirds will not migrate if you leave your hummingbird feeder out in the fall. Now, if you joined our naturals chat earlier, you may know this answer. True or false? Hummingbirds will not migrate if you leave your hummingbird feeder out in the fall. That is false. That is false. Obviously, we just talked about that with the previous question in that feeders, birds don't become dependent upon them. So what happens in the fall, if you have hummingbird feeders out late in the fall, and you have some late hummingbirds, they are likely birds that were behind in migration to begin with for any variety of reasons. It's usually young birds. Maybe they hatched or fledged late. Maybe they got sick or injured. They healed, and now they're migrating. What those late hummingbird feeders provide is opportunity for refueling, and they may stick around a little while to build up those reserves, but your feeders are not what is keeping them there. It was some other natural element likely that is causing them to arrive late. So you don't have to worry. Your hummingbird feeders do not keep hummingbirds around and prevent them from migrating. Okay, after one round, the old coots are at the top. I'm not gonna be able to say that one with a straight face. Round number 2, something's fishy about that. Something fishy about that. All right, round 2, question 1. Which does not complete this sentence? Common mergansers spend time in and around rivers and lakes where they predominantly what? So which of the phrases do not complete that sentence? Take a good look at that beak. Look at that big old snout. So this was a little trickier question. Which of those phrases does not complete it? When common mergansers are in and around river and lakes. All right, look at that beak. That is a serrated, pointy beak. That is clearly a fish-eating beak. They don't dabble for plant material. They are fish eaters, mollusk eaters, other aquatic invertebrate eaters like crayfish. They nest in cavities. So common merganser chicks, when they hatch, you'll often can see them in the right canyons, leaping out of the canyon walls and falling to the river below. It sounds dramatic, and it is, but it's also pretty amazing. But they don't really dabble for plant material. They're diving ducks, not dabblers. They will scan and dive for fish using eyesight to find them. And then, because they're fish eaters, oftentimes their prey is stolen by something like a gull or an eagle, which are great scavengers and stealers of fish. After the first question, not a lot of movement there, so we'll keep it moving to question number 2. Our bonus question: when making suet cakes for woodpeckers, which should not be included? When making suet cakes for woodpeckers, if you're going to make these at home yourself, which one of these should not be included? And it is salted sunflower seeds. So sunflower hearts, dried fruits, mealworms, all good as long as there are no additives. If you're talking dry fruit that's had sugar added, well, that's a different question entirely, or a different answer entirely. But salted seeds are not good for birds. You never want to put out anything with salts on them for birds. They need to come about their salts naturally. So adding salt to a food source is not good for our birds. Lots of movement in the leaderboard after question number 2 there. Let's move to question number 3. And it is a bonus one. Which answer is true? In 2024, herring gulls were divided into 4 distinct species across the world due to their what? Due to their what? That was a tricky one. This obviously was a night focused on bird foods, bird feeding, feeding birds. What do birds eat? So that might have been a little tricky question, trying to get you to pick the prey fish, but it is genetic variation. Scientists are diving deeper and deeper every year into the genomes of birds and discovering, how birds are related and how birds aren't related, even when they look very, very similar. That was a tough question. That's why it was a bonus question. That was a tough question if you don't stay up on your bird genomics. All right. True or false? Osprey use magnetic detection to locate fish as a result of heavy metals inherent in their fish diet. True or false? Do osprey use magnetic detection to locate fish? True or false? That one is false. That is false. Instead, they'll sight the fish in the water. They have, like all birds, they have a nictitating membrane, which is that kind of semi-transparent third eyelid, so that as they dive in, then they can still see underwater. Most birds put that up if they're going into the water. They have that dark feathering around their eyes. If you're a sports fan, you've ever seen any sort of athlete where they wear the eye black under their eyes when they play outside, helps reduce glare from sunlight. And so that dark feathering around their eyes helps in that reduction of glare off the water, help them see into the water a little bit better. So lots of adaptations. And then if you ever see their feet, their talons and their feet, very rough, very amazing. Great for holding on to those slippery little buggers. Okay, and that is after 4 in the second round. Here's our scoreboard, a little bit of movement there. We've got some hot streaks happening. Love to see it. Question number 5. This is a multi-select. Which 2 answers are correct? White-breasted nuthatches pound seed into the bark furrows of trees to what? Remember to pick 2 and click submit. Pick 2 and click submit. Which of these 2 are correct? All right. So the 2 correct answers, they cache the seeds in winter and then save them and eat them throughout the winter, in case there's a food shortage. If you don't know about caching, many birds, they will take their food and they'll store it, basically, a mini refrigerator to to put it in a simple term, it's like a little refrigerator out there in the woods. They'll cache it away in a crack and come back and find it later. Several species of birds, their brains actually grow in wintertime to help them remember all of these cached locations, so that they can go back and find them. And then also that's obviously a benefit in helping to plant new plants from seed. Birds play a big role in that. Whitebark pine, one of their biggest spreaders of seed are birds, the Clark's nutcracker. So, and then the other, you'll see them jam it into cracks, and then they'll peel the husk or the shell off of the seed and pull the meat of the seed or nut out and eat it. So those are the two correct answers. Okay, that's after 5 in round 2. Question number 6. Both common and Barrow's goldeneyes eat the following. Both common and Barrow's goldeneye eat the following. There's obviously something that they eat that is quite obvious in this image, but not listed as an answer. I thought this was a funny photo. All of these, common and Barrow's goldeneyes, they'll eat fish eggs, aquatic insects, they'll eat mollusks, they'll eat plant material, and they'll obviously eat frog legs. I don't know if anyone's tried frog legs. I have not, but the goldeneye apparently will also eat frogs. So you can add amphibians to this already large list of what goldeneye will eat. Okay, after 2 rounds, here's our standings. Plenty of points left on the board, plenty of questions left. We're through 2 rounds. We have 3 rounds to go. So keep sitting back, keep having some fun, and hopefully learning some things about birds. Let's move into round 3. Round 3 is picky eaters. Picky eaters. And let's jump into the questions. Question number 1, it is a bonus. American woodcocks eat primarily what? Look at that face. Oh. Also known as the timberdoodle, which is just an amazing colloquial name. Timberdoodle. So earthworms, annelids, absolutely. So obviously with that long probing bill, this is a species of shorebird. It's in that shorebird grouping that lives in the forested regions of the east in North America, specifically the deciduous forests, and they probe into that moist forest soil for annelids. All right, so one of my favorite birds several years ago, one got knocked way off course here in Wyoming. I talked with some rehabbers and with Game and Fish and got the thumbs up to check it out. It wasn't injured. It just got caught in a storm, burned through all of its body fat, most of its muscle. And so I had a timberdoodle living in my bathroom for a little over a week, and I just fed it nonstop night crawlers, and that thing would eat 20 to 30 night crawlers in a night. So got it fattened up and then got it heading south on its migration back on course. That was an exciting time. Okay, after question 1 in round 3, question number 2. Snail kites eat primarily what? Snail kites eat primarily what? Not something you're going to see in the Rockies, but still a picky eater. Snail kites eat primarily what? Some of you thought maybe it was a trick question. Snail kites, as their name suggests, their diet is mostly, made up of apple snails. And so it's a large, there's a couple large species of apple snails. These are found in the Everglades, and they have this really long specialized hooked bill. You can see in this one, it looks like it's got a crab there maybe. And they use that hook to pull the snail out of its shell and eat it. Picky eaters. So that one wasn't a trick question. Snail kites eat snails. Question number 3. And this is our bonus. Resplendent quetzals eat primarily what? Resplendent quetzals eat primarily what? Again, not a species to be found in the Rockies. Uh-oh. There it goes. Froze on me. So this photo was a little misleading, and that's on me. And that's on me to give you this misleading photo because clearly there is a lizard, but that is not their primary part of their diet. These birds, and you'll have to look up an image when we're not in the middle of trivia, they eat avocados. And then they spit up that big avocado seed. Watching them regurgitate it is hilarious. But they eat avocados. It seems wild, and it is, and that is, hey, clearly you want to look as good as a quetzal, eat more avocado, right? There's clearly something to that. Look at that gorgeous plumage on that bird. It was a little misleading image, though, having it carrying a lizard, but they eat avocados. Okay, that is after question number 3 in round 3, so let's move to 4. Peregrine falcons eat primarily what? The way that bird's looking at me right now, I'm worried it might come after me next. But they are bird eaters. So peregrine falcons are primarily bird eaters. That really, if you've ever heard of how fast they fly, it's because they have to chase down fast-moving prey. Flying waterfowl, shorebirds, game birds. Falconers often use peregrines to hunt upland game birds. And so what these birds do, sometimes they'll try to kill the bird on impact. You can also see them, they'll fly, they'll come out of their stoop, which is their dive. They'll punch with their feet and try to cause a spinal cord injury. And then if that doesn't work, they have this little can opener like ledge on their beak, and they'll sever the spinal cord like that. They are truly, truly impressive hunters, and they mostly hunt and eat birds. That is a big part of their diet. Okay, that was question number 4 in round 3. 2 left. Little bit of movement after that one. Little bit of movement after that one. The no scrub jays have moved up to the top of the board. All right, turkey vultures eat primarily what? What do turkey vultures primarily eat? Is it turkeys? Is it carrion? Pine nuts? Rodents? What do turkey vultures primarily eat? Look at those big nares, those nostrils there. Screen keeps freezing. There we go. All right, everyone got that one right. Turkey vultures have some of the strongest olfactory sense, or the ability to smell in the bird world. They can smell prey over a mile. They can smell carrion over a mile away, even if it's buried under leaves and sand and dirt on the forest floor. So very good sniffers on these, and that's how they sniff out carrion. Okay, that was number 5. Question number 6. After we go to the scoreboard, current standings. Question number 6. Sandwich terns eat primarily what? What do sandwich terns primarily eat? Is it sandwiches left on the beach? Clams from leftover clam bakes? Tacos on Tuesdays? Or mostly fish? There's a little something stuck to that sandwich tern's beak. Maybe we can tell what it was eating. All right. Some people maybe had a little fun with that one. Sandwich terns, like all terns, they are fish eaters. So they eat primarily fish. One way to remember identifying the sandwich tern is it looks like the sandwich tern has dipped its beak in a little bit of mustard, just like a sandwich. All right, it's a fun ID tip. When I first saw my sandwich tern, that someone said to me, that's the one it looks like it's got just a little bit of mustard on the tip of its beak. So they are fish eaters. Okay, that was the last question in round 3. No movements in that one. No movements in that one. let's go to round 4, which is thankful for birds. I mean, with a gesture like that, how can't you be thankful to have birds around in our lives, right? That's a happy image. All right. So, uh, if you feed birds, maybe that's one way you show gratitude to birds is offer them a little extra snack, and that will be a big part of the focus of this round is the feeding of birds. Some tips and information provided on how to feed birds in a nice, ethical, and safe manner. So, first question, true or false? This is a double point question. Perhaps the oldest known feeding of birds dates back over 11,000 years in a practice known as sky burial. Tonight's not a story hour, so we can't hear a story from our Colorado naturalist Keith Bruno, who would have a story to share on this topic. But this is true. Sky burial is one of the first known forms of feeding of birds. I will not get too much into it, but essentially, it's a practice. It's a Tibetan practice, and in some other areas where the bodies are broken up and returned to the sky through birds. So griffins and vultures will come down and consume the bodies of the people that are left out to return them to the sky, return their energy to the earth. So this is a practice, and it is one of the oldest known forms of feeding. There are some other pretty interesting styles of birds being fed by humans, which go back, but this is maybe the oldest, at least known. So right here, this is Tibetan vulture, I believe, or Himalayan vulture. Okay, after the first question, round 4, let's go to question number 2. Which of the following is or are great online resources for feeding birds? Any one is a great resource, but utilizing all can maximize your practice of feeding birds. And then also remember, if you're going to feed birds, you may feed the birds that eat birds. So remember, if you're going to congregate birds, you're going to attract their predators as well. Okay, after 2 in round 4. Question number 3. It is a bonus question. How often should seed-filled bird feeders be cleaned? How often do you need to clean your bird feeders? This is going to put everyone to the test a little bit on if they're feeding birds. How often are they cleaning? Weekly. It is recommended to clean weekly to help reduce the spread of viruses and bacteria, but at the very least, bi-weekly. At the very least, bi-weekly. You want to scrub them with soap and hot water. Then you want to soak them in a dilute bleach solution, 9 parts water to 1 part bleach. Soak them with that, or you can use a spray as well. Just thoroughly rinse them after and let them air dry. And that's it. That's all it takes. And if you don't want to lose the time that you're enjoying the birds while you're cleaning them, what I like to do is have a backup set of bird feeders, and I just make a swap, put up the new ones, fill them, take down the other ones, and clean them. Depending upon how often your birds clean out your feeders, it might just be easy to time it when the feeders go empty. If it's after a week or maybe 8, 9 days, take them down and keep going. Okay, that is after 3 in round 4. We still have looks like 8 questions, 9 questions left. So plenty of opportunities here still to move up the leaderboard. Lots of bonus left too. How often should hummingbird feeders be cleaned? How often should hummingbird feeders be cleaned? Look at that. That's what I like to see. It should be every 2 to 5 days, depending upon your external temperature. So if you're constantly over 85 degrees, you're going to want to clean them more frequently than, say, if your feeders, stay in the shade and you're in an area that doesn't really get above 80, mid 80s very often. But anything above that, you're going to want to change the fluid frequently and clean them frequently. And again, just have a second set to swap them around. Hummingbird feeders are feeders that are generally considered safe to go through the dishwasher, both for the birds and for humans. So if you want to put them through the dishwasher, that is generally said to be an okay practice. But if you want to keep them separate, don't use bleach on hummingbird feeders, just soap and water. If you're going to use vinegar, use a dilute vinegar to help kill back some of the mold that might be trying to grow. Okay. After 4, there's our leaderboard. Lots of swapping back and forth in these top 5. I want to see someone make a surge up into that top 5 that aren't on the screen right now. Let's go to question 5. Ooh, and it's a multi-select, so there's going to be more than one right answer. What is the recommended distance for bird feeders from windows? And this is a bonus question. This is a tough one. More than one right answer here. Make sure to select any answer you think might be correct and click submit. We were all over. We were all over. So the correct answers, this is after several studies were done on this, kind of wondering, what minimizes the risk of birds colliding with windows when you put feeders out. Again, you're congregating birds, you're inviting them close to your home, and oftentimes you want to see them through the window. Well, either 0 to 3 feet distance from your window, so that if the birds get scared off the feeders, they don't hit the window so hard that it causes injury or mortality, or greater than 30 feet, which then again, it gives the birds plenty of time to find a better course of action away from your windows to prevent, again, that window collision that can cause injury or even death. Okay, so generally it's recommended either 0 to 3 feet or greater than 30 feet. Anything in there, if you're going to do that, make sure you have window treatments. So ways for the birds to understand that that is not more nature, that is a reflection. So something to break up that reflective pattern and alert the birds to not keep flying at your window. One of the best ways is just having your storm screen, that screen over your window. It's one of the best ways to prevent birds from colliding with windows. So if you have those up, generally that will prevent most bird collisions. Okay, let's go to the last question of round number 4. And it is another multi-select. So there's more than one right answer. Make sure you select all the correct answers here. Which of the following are great food products to feed birds with? Which of the following are great food products to feed birds with? Select all that you think might be correct and click submit when you're done. Okay, and it was all of them. All of these are generally viewed as safe for bird consumption. If you were questioning that black soldier fly larva, it's a little bit new to the bird feeding world. They're trying to incorporate more high protein source of food that, birds that don't just eat seed or that don't eat any seed, gives them an option of something to eat. And so maybe you've heard of mealworms being fed. Well, these black soldier fly larvae pack an even greater protein punch. So there's an effort right now to include more of that into bird feed as well. But all of them are great options. Sunflower seed, probably the number one option. It attracts the greatest variety of birds. Millet is a great option for ground birds, especially love it. Mourning doves, juncos, song sparrows, Lincoln sparrows, towhees. Millet is great for all of them. Jays also really like millet though, so don't sleep on millet for the big birds as well. Jays love millet. Safflower is a great option that maybe squirrels like a little bit less. Some people say that house sparrows like it less as well. But honestly, with house sparrows, they'll eventually start eating it too. Excuse me. With peanuts, peanuts are great for a lot of birds. They are one of the more expensive items, and the birds will eat them very fast. And if you have any jays of any kind, expect them to bully everyone else over those peanuts. And then suet is a great option for our corvids. So your jays, your crows, ravens, magpies. But jays really like it. Woodpeckers love it. Nuthatches love it. Chickadees love it. A lot of different species really enjoy suet. You can occasionally get warblers on suet even. So a lot of great suet loving birds out there as well, depending upon which ones you get. So all great options to feed birds. No change in the scoreboard, but we have one round to go. One round to go. And this round is all about speed. You get 10 seconds per bird. You're going to have 1 or 2 to 4 options to select from. So you're going to see the image. You're going to have to answer quickly. 10 seconds flies by. If you have any lag whatsoever, it may affect you. I apologize. But this is Lightning ID. So get those fingers limbered up. If you're tapping on a screen or tapping on a mouse, whatever it is, get them ready, get them loose, because this round flies by. There are, I believe, 3 bonus questions in this round. So plenty of chance to move on up the leaderboard or just have some fun and see how good your ID skills are on some of these birds. I will tell you, there is at least 1 or 2 of these birds that might catch you. You might not be familiar with it. I was trying to be a little tricksy when I put this together. So here we go. Question number 1. Bonus question. Name this bird as soon as it pops up. So this is the ocellated turkey. Many people don't know there's more than one species of turkey. We have the wild turkey in North America and the ocellated turkey in Latin America. Both gorgeous birds in their own rights. You can see the similarities between them, but the ocellated turkey has that beautiful blue head. And then you can see those little cool orange and yellow growths all over the top of their head and that bright reddish orange eye ring. They're a gorgeous bird that you can see if you travel into Latin America. Our wild turkey, obviously, gorgeous as well, but ocellated turkey is a fun one. I had to do a little trick there, throwing you off with something that's similar to our wild turkey. Okay, question number 2. Oh, that one caused some movement. The ocellated turkey got some people. Got some people with my trick there. Number 2, another bonus question. Name this bird. Name this bird. You only find it through some of the Rockies region. Whew, that was quick. That was really, really fast. Oh, goodness. This is a scaled quail, and you can see where it gets that name. Look at that scaling pattern around its neck area, down the breast and onto the lower belly there. This is a scaled quail. Okay, so you can find these mostly desert, southwest, and westward. So only part of the Rockies region do the scaled quail occur. Oh, some more movement after that one. Some more movement. Okay, question number 3. Name this bird. Very good. Some of you maybe got tripped up on the pheasant part. You saw pheasant, you clicked so quickly. The golden pheasant is more golden overall. This is the ringneck pheasant. Now, for those unaware, a lot of conservation dollars go into the ringneck pheasant, but it is not a native upland game species to North America. It comes from Asia. So this is an Asian species of bird, which is why so much money has to be spent on keeping their populations in North America going, because this is not their native habitat. So this is a non-native game bird in North America. Ooh, no movement after that one. No movement. Question number 4. Bonus question. Name this bird. One second. Oh, this is a gadwall. This is one of our, some people might call this plain looking ducks, but they are beautiful in their subtlety. Their subtle patterns, subtle colors. They are one of our gorgeous waterfowl species. And they're a dabbling species. So they're related to like mallards. So I had a list of dabblers there to try to throw you off, but this is the gadwall. This is the adult male gadwall. Okay, I think we have one or two left. Let's see. All right, name this bird. Ooh. You might notice a slight theme to this round outside of identification. This was a tough one. This was a tough one. This is the gray partridge, previously known as the Hungarian partridge. It is another upland game species that was introduced to North America. So the gray partridge or Hungarian partridge comes from the Middle East, I believe, native to the mountains of, say, Afghanistan. I'm trying to think of some other areas. Obviously, with a name like Hungarian, you think, well, maybe it came from Hungary as well. But this is a kind of Eastern Europe, Middle East to certain parts of Asian upland game species. So that is the gray partridge, not native to North America. You can see a little bit different looking than, say, that scaled quail. Doesn't have that very obvious scaling. And then that orange face, big orange face there. When you find them in North America, if you go out and look for them in the spring, you can come across their maternity flocks where the females bring all of their chicks together. And you can see a couple hundred in a flock because they'll stick together in large numbers for safety. Oh, the grouse goons made a surge after we've gone through some upland game birds. Let's see how they handle the last question. Lots of movement on this board. I like to see it. I like to see people taking chances, taking guesses, having fun, hopefully learning some things. This is our last question of our last trivia night for 2024. Thank you all so much. We're glad you were here. Last question coming up. It is a bonus question. Question of name this bird. What is this fantastic looking bird? This is the ruffed grouse. The ruffed grouse. The dusky grouse has a big red sack that it inflates right here on the side of its head, whereas the ruffed grouse has this it kind of puffs up the feathers around its neck. There might be a sack under there even, but you can see these black feathers here that push out, and then they do their drumming typically on a log or a rock where they really enjoy. All right, but before you go, let's take a look at our final standings by going to the podium. But first, one final question. Did you have fun tonight? Hope so. I hope you had an enjoyable time. Hope you learned something new, maybe. We appreciate you all being here. We appreciate you taking the time to spend your Thursday night with us, having fun. You will get a survey likely. However you signed up for this tonight, please fill out that survey. It helps us to know how we're doing. So with that, let's go to the podium. In third place, the early birds. Early birds staying up late. In second place, the grouse goons. And making a comeback to take over the first spot, the no scrubs chase. just a great name. Just a great name. Oh. Well, thank you all so much. I did not get to see the chat. I see there's lots of chats. I hope you were having fun in the chats, chatting with each other. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a wonderful holiday next week to those of you that celebrate. And hopefully we will see you in December for the Audubon After Dark Story Hour. where we will be sharing tales from the Christmas bird count. We've got some tales from our own staff that we're going to share to hopefully add a little fun to the evening. So please come in December and share your tales from the Christmas bird count. Jacqueline threw the event registration in the chat box, so if you do want to register for that to be reminded of it, you can register. It's in the chat there. Jacqueline just threw it in there. Thank you all so much. And
don't forget, I need the addresses for the top 3 winners so that I can send stickers. So if you can just either email me or you can type it right now and send me a direct message. And let me know how many you want, what your address is, and I will send those to you.
Yes, so winning teams, no scrubs, Jays, the grouse goons, and early birds. If you would like to get your Audubon After Dark sticker, you can have one for each member of your team. Either email myself or Jacqueline, or send a direct message to Jacqueline right now with your mailing address, and we will get those mailed out to you.
Yep.
Oh, Morgan, I'm glad you were able to join. I've been hearing about the weather in the Pacific Northwest, so thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully the internet allowed you at least to view if you weren't able to participate. My internet tonight was giving me trouble. So, all right. Well, thank you all. We're going to shut it down.